I shut down, literally. Couldn't think, too tired, panic attacks, I guess depressed. I'm still working my way out of it. Here I am, a happiness coach, not feeling like doing anything, crying, feeling like I'm dying, feeling crazy, trying to pull myself together for appearances while inside, I was wondering if anyone would notice that I'm about to lose it any minute. Welcome to the Create Happy Now podcast, dedicated to helping you start your journey to discover true happiness. Join me, your host, Susan Blanton, weekly as we explore the transformation stories and words of wisdom from our masters of happiness with tips you can start applying today to create happy now. Hey, this is Susan Blanton with the Create Happy Now podcast, and I am back. And I took quite about a year, I guess, a hiatus. I was fighting a virus, not COVID. It was called Epstein-Barr Virus and Bartonella, and it basically gave me extreme exhaustion, and everything in life pretty much overwhelmed me. And I'm going to share a excerpt from my journal because I was just in complete awe and could not understand why I felt so bad, because it was making me feel depressed. And I was like, how can I be depressed? I am a happiness coach. I have a podcast called Create Happy Now. Why do I feel this way? And I'm telling you, I tried everything to make myself feel better using all the tools that I had. And I just came to the conclusion this has to be physical. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think it's just depression. And it was physical. It was not depression. And I went to another doctor and he gave me antidepressants. Well, I finally went to my homeopathic physician who was going to be on my show on the next podcast. So today is just a little teaser about this very first podcast that is going to be coming up. And he actually found out that I have, he diagnosed me with Epstein-Barr because he used proper testing methods that maybe Western medicine doesn't. And a lot of internists recognize this more as chronic fatigue syndrome or depression or fibromyalgia. And going untreated, it can get worse, but it can be turned around. It definitely can be turned around if you're treated properly. And it took me a year to get over it, and it a lot of things overwhelmed me. I couldn't empty the dishwasher and fill it in the same day. I couldn't even understand how people would do that. But I wanted to have this podcast about this to kind of explain why I've been gone and to let people know that this virus is out there and it's very concerning, and it is something that you need to look into, because if you're sick and nobody seems to know what's wrong with you, or you're just tired all the time and nothing seems to make it feel better, you need to really look into this this virus. Now, it pairs up with something else. Sometimes it pairs up with Lyme disease. Mine paired up with Bartonella, which is cat scratch fever. I had a lot of kitties all my life, so I'm sure I got scratched along the way. But they both kind of have the same, the symptoms kind of cross over, and will explain that in the next podcast. But I want to share with you today and just be a little bit vulnerable to let you know what I was going through at the time and see if you recognize feeling this way at any point, or maybe you know somebody that's feeling this way. So I want you to stay tuned. This is not going to be a very long podcast, but I did want to introduce my next guest because it will really help you understand the magnitude of this virus and how it affects many, many people, and they just don't know it. So listen in. I shut down, literally. Couldn't think, too tired, panic attacks, I guess depressed. I'm still working my way out of it. Here I am, a happiness coach, not feeling like doing anything, crying, feeling like I'm dying, feeling crazy, trying to pull myself together for appearances while inside I was wondering if anyone would notice that I'm about to lose it any minute. I couldn't smile. I could fake it, do a little here and there, and then just collapse after. At times I just wanted to give up, just F my life. Had I attracted this to myself? I wondered if I could relate to people who wanted my help. I had been flying so high on my high-flying disc. I felt great. Nothing shook me. COVID was a breeze, by the way. I was loving life. But I was wondering, was I relating to people that might need my help? Was I not being vulnerable enough? Again, after looking back at these questions, I'm asking myself, did I attract this to myself? Probably. And I wondered, was I wrong? Spiraling my fears into survival mode. Is it something physically wrong with me? I do have a heart condition, and it's mild, and most of the time it gives me no concern. But it can be worsened and need surgery, and that fear lingered. Had I ruined my heart? I had to rule it out. And forget telling me I'm depressed. How could someone who has been training as a happiness coach be certified and living the best life I've had so far be depressed? I couldn't succumb to believing it. However, I was determined to feel my grief to its fullest. An English professor of mine once said to allow yourself to feel your grief to its fullest. I had really heard her at that time because I was suffering from a heartbreak. And I never forgot her words. Because you can't stuff those feelings. You must feel them, embrace them, and discover yourself in your deepest, darkest moments. What really matters? At some points, I felt like nothing mattered except I needed to be me, to exist, if just only to be alive, for those who loved me. I had to fight for myself, for them. I also learned I felt I needed to just do in order to prove my worth in my existence and to be loved. Could I be loved for just being me at base zero? I was afraid to find out. Would they be pushing me to pull myself out of it and get back to being someone? Anyone? Who? Who was I? Was I a girlfriend? A mother? A friend? A boss? An employee? A podcast host? An artist? Did I have to be any of those to be admired or loved? It didn't matter. I needed to love me if no one else would. That is what really mattered. That is what sustains you, because all those roles are never permanent, not even being a mother. You can be biologically a mother and choose not to be. But I'm not judging anyone who's ever made that decision because it doesn't define you. Nothing defines you on a deserted island. What are you there even? Nothing matters but your existence and the ability to survive and the person you really are. Who are you when you're stripped down to survival mode? Are you compassionate? Are you confident? Are you honest? Are you patient? Do you love yourself at your darkest hour? Because that is all that is. Source, God, and Creator. Your higher self does love you unconditionally. And if you don't feel the same way, you are not in alignment. And then that being in alignment is true happiness. I did everything I could to be in alignment. I meditated. I listened to my favorite spiritual recordings. I read, but the feeling eluded me. My alignment had been strong for some time, and I felt a void now. Where did it go? What is wrong with me? I had no reason to be unhappy with my circumstances. I thought I loved myself. Apparently, I did not. I was fooling myself. I thought I had to be and do all these things to be confident, to be proud of myself, to be successful, to be admired, or to lead others. No, that is not loving yourself. It's being nothing. I was too tired to do most things. Even texting a friend wore me out. Checking Facebook was literally a chore I had to do, but couldn't stand to interact or post on my Facebook group. I would here and there, but it took all my effort. I had no enjoyment, satisfaction, or fulfillment in doing it. I could care less if anybody commented. I felt it fading and feared it losing its appeal, but I had no wherewithal to care or do anything about it. I had to let it go for now. Letting go was becoming a theme. Letting go of caring about the outcome of a lot of things. I let go of caring about maintaining weekly schedule of my podcast. I tried. I didn't want to disappoint you guys. I have everything to be grateful for, and I am. So what happened? I am falling apart in my head, and the thread of my being is unraveling. I'll be sharing some more excerpts from some of my journaling that I did during that time, and you'll be able to meet Dr. Sloan. He is so cool and so down to earth, and he spent so much time with me during my whole year of treatment, and I have to just say that I really set an intention that together with him that I was going to get back to myself and also get better than that and create the best version of myself. So I want you all to stay tuned. I will be putting out more podcasts and YouTube videos on the Create Happy Now YouTube channel. I want to be with you on your journey as well. So please make sure that you comment, ask questions. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, and we're going to have a lot of fun together. Enjoy. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Create Happy Now podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, and if you are watching on YouTube, hit that notification bell. If you have a topic to suggest, leave a comment below. Catch the Create Happy Now podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, Podbean, Amazon Radio, and iHeartRadio. Check out other YouTube videos on the Create Happy Now YouTube channel. And if you want more, check down below for links to resources, courses, and events, or go to www.createhappynow.com.